He's the voiceover studio engineer of the Stars in Los Angeles, California, a Virginia Tech grad with a knowledge of recording studios unmatched in his field. He's a voice actor from Buffalo, New York, with 30 years experience in recording studios and behind the mic. He solves people's home voiceover studio problems in the blink of an eye. Together, there's no studio problem they can't solve, and they'll do it for you tonight. Welcome to East West Audio Body Shop. Now, live from a basement in Buffalo and an office in LA, here are Dan Leonard and George Whittam.
Good evening. Yes, I'm definitely Dan Leonard in the East.
And I am definitely George Whittam in the West.
And together we are East West Audio Body Shop. Very good.
We're getting good at the timing. I don't even think about it anymore. It just feels like it's automatic.
That's because it is. It's amazing. I mean, you got a signal that's coming from Santa Monica,
right,
over a satellite, probably going through Vladivostok, over
right,
here to Buffalo, and then back over through Hawaii, then back to Santa Monica, and it's like that.
And it works pretty well.
It works pretty darn well. So
most of the time, it works pretty well.
That's right. Anyway, we're here once again on a Sunday night, and again, what else are you planning on doing tonight? You know, there's no Oscars, there's no football, unless you're watching hockey, which I know I'm not tonight. What are you going to do? What a perfect time to get together with all your voiceover friends and hang out with us for an hour or so and have a good time. Yeah. And our special guest tonight is Mike McCall, who is a big-time voice. We're going to get his voice tonight, though, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's actually in transport. Apparently they were on the boat today, and we just was not able to get the family off the lake or off the out of the marina, home, and all that stuff on time to be to the studio. So he apologizes for that profusely. I know he wanted to be able to show off the studio tonight and all that, but he will be with us by phone, so he'll be able to share some of his pearls and how he made it to the place where he is today in the biz.
Yeah, and we'll get to hear his family, too.
Yeah, probably. I think they'll be in the background, I'm sure. He's got a couple little kids, so he's like a couple of years ahead of me. He's got like two, he has like a 5 and an 8-year-old or something like that. So
God, he's so far behind me. Anyway, we got some other great stuff going on tonight. We're going to talk a little bit about Lion OS, and you've got some stuff from NAMM.
Sure do.
And I've got a great little feature tonight on how to be a little bit more environmentally friendly with your voiceover business. And of course, pictures of your home studio. We got some great pictures today from. I know Paul sent us some great pictures. Did you see those yet?
I haven't gotten a look at them yet.
They're there. Well, we'll find a way to get them.
Yeah, we'll throw them in. When did he send them? Today?
He sent them today.
Okay, cool.
I know he sent them today. I saw them today.
I will take a look at them, and maybe we'll slide them in at the end of the show.
Incredibly Dutch with lots of tulips in it.
Oh,
Guys
it came
seem to
from
have a little bit of a thing with tulips.
Yeah, exactly. It came from WeTransfer, right?
That's right.
There it is. I got it. I'm grabbing it now.
Okay, well, we'll take a look at those.
Up to the minute we are with this show.
Up to the minute. Wait, we've got a news flash.
News flash. I have a bulletin. Yes. Just in.
Yes. Anyway, I wanted to show off something because I know our good friend Diane Merritt was wondering if I was ever going to get this working. But here is the Shure 666, which you are listening to at this very moment. It works great. It was a TV mic. It belonged to her dad, and in memory of him, we're now using it here on EWABS. So she's now part of us, and he's part of us, and that's the important thing. And
that's really cool. That's really neat. What a neat way to honor him and have a classic piece of gear in the studio. And the thing sounds great.
It does. Of course, it was perfectly repaired by yours truly.
But it's not a boomy mic, right? It doesn't have a lot of bottom end, which makes it really good for reporting.
That's true.
It really cuts through.
I can give it some. If you want me to give it a little bit of bottom end, I can give it some bottom end.
Oh yes, there it is. No, it sounds like it.
No, I'm just going to keep it nice and flat, and let you deal with.
I think right there it sounds perfect.
Yes, but anyway, we're now using that, and so it's sort of like, again, it's like being back on the radio again, and now I can get up close to the mic the way George does, and you can just hear me this way.
It's a habit. It's a habit. I was never on the radio, but still, I totally get the whole thing. I have the headphones on. I just can't help but get close to the mic. Plus, I'm trying to reject as much background noise as possible from my less than perfect studio space. So
Right. And you can't hear my aquarium at all, so it's...
no. Is it running right now?
Yes, but I filled it up so it's not going...
Right. The motor's not going, the
no,
water's
it
not
doesn't do
halfway
that anymore.
full.
but the placostomuses are giving me some pretty silly looks today. What on earth are you doing over there?
Placostomus.
Anyway, what else is on the agenda this week? Aside from getting on the air and being in your, on your computer screen while your family looks at you going, what on earth are you watching on there? Are you watching that stuff on the computer again?
Yeah, those weirdos.
And speaking of computers, I suppose we should start off talking about Lion, since it's something we both know an awful lot about.
Yeah, starting to get to know it a little bit. You've been using it pretty much from day one, right?
When it came out, I threw it on my iMac. Even though it's a 5-year-old iMac, it's done. I had a couple of little problems with it, and then I took it over to the Mac store, and they got cleaned up, and now you see me now as going through my Mac, so it must be working okay.
What? I mean, just to quantify it, what sort of issues did you have to deal with first off when you started using Lion? What were the primary things you had to straighten out?
Well, it wasn't anything major, and the thing is with Mac generally, and those of you who are Mac users know this, nothing's ever major. If something crashes, you wait, it comes back, that sort of thing. I there was little problems with Adobe Audition initially, and then that cleared itself up. There were other programs that were a little bit incompatible. I can't even remember what they were.
So it's like when you say your little issues, it was because Lion was so new that the software manufacturers had not quite caught up, and you were waiting for updates from those manufacturers.
Yeah, there was a problem with my Epigee 1 until I went to the Epigee site and went, yeah, we've got it. We've got the driver. Now everybody, they must have rushed that thing in and they got it working, and I haven't had a problem with it since. It's just run nice and smooth.
That is one of the advantages of using Apogee, is they really try to stay, in as much as they can in lockstep with what Apple's doing. Right. And that is a big thing about. That's why using Apogee hardware is a pretty good bet when you're an Apple user because of that.
Yeah.
So
now I heard a thing I was working with a client today who was it was the other day, and she was having a problem with Skype. Someone had signed on, was trying to hack into her computer using Skype. And she could see his hands, and he kept calling on Skype, and all of a sudden her computer went snap off. And whenever it snaps off, I know that's a protective thing, because it's, she was trying not to get hooked into being hacked, and I think her firewall shut the computer down. She calls me, it's not working, my Mac. I'm like, wait, be patient.
Right.
Wait 5 minutes, turn it back on, call me back when it comes back on.
Right.
And true to form, that's exactly what it did.
Mm-hmm.
So try that with a PC.
Well, I'm very tempted to actually put Windows on this Hackintosh, which is really a PC, and just to have a secondary system to do a lot of testing back and forth and kind of get more used to the world of PC again. Because, oops, sorry about that. I just covered the screen with a bunch of Windows. Sorry about that. Just to get a little bit more lockstep with all the Windows users out there, and have a better, just be more dialed into the things to look out for. But I had so many years of Windows using, it feels like I was being used by Windows half the time, and I've not wanted to relive all that again. But I want to be in the know and know what you guys are dealing with, and guys and gals are dealing with, and what issues you're running into. And so, I'm going to be a little bit more tuned into the Windows things as time goes on, especially with this new version of Windows 8 coming.
Right.
But I digress. We're talking about Lion. So, I've had a couple people with Lion where their audio interfaces are starting to get a little weird. Things are going on where, even with Apogee, one of my clients is a Mac Mini with Lion. And if you've bought a Mac in the last, a year? Has it been a year already for Lion? Or maybe
almost,
a year. If you bought a Mac since Lion came out, then you have Lion. You can't go back once the machine is installed with a certain OS. Within the world of Apple, if it comes with Lion, you have to stick with Lion. You can move forward, you can't move backward. But The only problems I've seen that really seem to be persisting are just inexplainable little things like Flash not behaving properly. One client of mine, she installed Flash, and then it kind of locked up the system. And she was using just Twisted Wave and an Apogee one, the simplest setup. Right. And it was causing really inexplicable problems. She removed Flash, and everything was back to normal. I don't know what that is. I don't know if it's particularly Lion to blame, but I haven't seen that particular issue happen on any version of Snow Leopard OS 10.6 and older. So I'm kind of leaning towards Lion on that. And then another client has the Mackie Firewire 820i, or the Mackie Onyx, 820i, which I think is a really cool mixer. I mean, I think it is. If there was any one mixer that's designed for our needs as voice actors, I think it is the one. It's still got some knobs and buttons it doesn't need to have. It's a little overly complicated. But the fact that it has built-in Firewire with multi-track in and out, so you can take any mic input and send it to the computer and all that stuff, I think that makes it a perfect device to use for voiceover. Plus, it lets you return the feed from the computer, like say something from Skype, and be able to do playback over Skype. It basically lets you do all the audio routing you have to do. And because the audio device is built into the mixer, you have less to deal with. But anyway, so it uses its own, the driver that it uses is the native Mac OS core audio driver. And I've had a couple instances now where clients have to power the thing off and on again to get it to start working, where it sort of just locks things up if they don't do that. And in one case, that's because the client might be on maybe because I have him on too long of a Firewire cable. In that case, he's on the end of 30 feet of Firewire, which is a pretty long run. Generally, you want to stay under 15 feet. And then the other person is running Lion 10.7.3, and she has been having to power cycle the unit maybe once a day to keep it from locking up and freezing. So it seems like Lion may be the culprit there. Here's my philosophy on it, and there's a certain point where you have to move forward. You can't keep, you have to there's a point where you have to progress and move forward with the new operating system. That point basically occurs when A, you buy a new computer, or B, there's a new version of software that you just dying to use, and the only way to use it is to upgrade. That, to me, are the only two good reasons to upgrade your OS. Now, there's other reasons in the Apple sphere, like if you want to use iCloud. Yes, if you want to use the iCloud stuff, you have to go to Lion. All your devices, or your iOS stuff has to be running iOS 5, which is not a big deal. But you kind of have to, everything has to progress forward. In fact, if you're using Mobile Me or even .Mac, which is the old way of synchronizing contacts and iDisk and all that stuff, well, you've probably gotten emails by now from Apple saying, guess what? You need to get with the times now, because in June, we're going to pull the plug on the whole Mac, Mobile Me thing completely. iDisk goes away. All of your Mobile Me websites go away. And you have to keep upgraded. So there's a point where I'm going to have to upgrade my Mobile Me accounts to iCloud. So I'll report on that and let you know how smooth that goes for me. But
I know I'm going to do it. I mean, I've been using, I never figured out Mobile Me except that it works, and I'm able to save certain important files there. And now knowing that we've got to shift these things over, that's what thumb drives are for.
Well, yeah, there's SneakerNet. there's a lot of ways. I mean, I'm when it comes to synchronizing files, I'm getting less and less dependent on the operating system to handle it for me, and more now on third-party applications, which has its benefits because you're not beholden to whatever OS you're on. So I can bounce between an Android phone and a Windows computer and a Mac, and using things like Dropbox, SugarSync, and Evernote, which is what I use for like my notebooks. Everything stays synchronized. There's no issues whatsoever in keeping everybody happy. So for me, it's not worth it to try to get the iCloud thing going because I have all these systems kind of already in place.
Right.
Are you using iCloud yet, Dan? I mean, is it a part of your life yet?
Well, it's starting to become. I mean, I've started to notice that my iPhone, my iPad, my iMac, and my MacBook, no, I don't have any Macs, are syncing things. Certainly it works really well with iTunes. So if you buy something on iTunes, it's suddenly on all your devices.
Yeah.
And I've used it, and if you've got a small file to transfer, it's very easy to just grab that. If it's like under 20 megabytes, it's a free file. You throw it onto iCloud, you get the URL for it, you send it to your client, boom, they've got it. Never been a problem.
Cool. So that works like
also
Dropbox.
Use Box and Dropbox and all these other things that you were talking about too. I used to sell insurance. Have backup. Just always have something. The great thing is you really don't have to pay for a lot of this stuff now. And it used to be, you'd have to send this file or you send it, and you'd pay a monthly fee. And it's not the case anymore. So that's one of the great things about iCloud. And I may go for the full tilt, instead of just being cheap and. Because I've got everything else that's free.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so they all give you that. They call it freemium. So you get a free version, right? And the free version works great, and it gives you pretty much all the important features. Then, if you just need a little more storage, a little more of this, a little more of that, then you pay something. I'm paying for SugarSync because you only get 5 gig of space, and I needed more because I'm syncing my entire client folder. My client folder is over 20 gigabytes because it's got. Lots of photos from builds and documents and, designs and even video and audio. So that client folder is getting really hairy. It's huge. So that whole thing has to sync. That's about 20 gig. And SugarSync is doing that fine. And it's costing me, I think it's like $30 a year for that or something like that. It's pretty
can't beat
cheap.
That. Yeah. I've noticed that, I can mix and match a lot of different things. And I haven't had a problem with it yet. It's learning the little ins and outs. But this stuff isn't rocket science. It's pretty simple, actually. Once you got over your intimidation of it, it's like it's new. It's not really new.
The intimidation factor is always, is always. And speaking of intimidation factor, are we all not still battling the intimidation factor on the forums, trying to keep? There's so many people out there putting in their 2 cents about what you need for a home studio. And like on the VOBB, someone brings up, what was it we were talking about? Oh, the whole set it and forget it thing.
Right.
That was a good one, right? That came up there. Like, do you set it and forget it, or are you always adjusting stuff? And I chimed in and said,
I'm a set it and forget it person.
Yeah.
I never mess around with stuff, but I check it every morning.
Yeah. But I mean, so when it comes to varying degrees of intensity of read, because you're mostly doing you're not doing a lot of character voices, right? So you're not having to yell much or that kind of thing. Yeah. But if you do that kind of stuff, you do have to play with gain a little bit, right? From time to time.
What there's certain things you can do with mic technique. One of the things I do, if I got to get loud, and I just back way off of the mic.
Of course, that's the first thing.
Sunday, Niagara. I used to do those kinds of spots.
Plus, there's ways to sound
back
loud
off the mic, and and you watch, you record it. If it's really hot, you turn it down a little bit, and you go back. But you memorize and you write. You mark. Where your settings are. What your basic settings are, and you adjust. But I don't do a lot of loud stuff. I mean, most of it is just normal conversational e-learning or narration of a book or something like that. I have a standard distance I stand, from the mic, and it's always that way. So I generally don't worry about it. If it's something different, if it's something unique, then I might make a change.
Yeah. I mean, This thing came up. This topic came up. We started getting things like, well, it depends how you feel in the morning. Okay, well, that's valid. But then it was like, depends on the barometric pressure and the humidity in the room and all this stuff. And I'm like,
oh, now I remember.
Come on, you guys, take it to Gear Sluts, will you? Jeez, Yeah.
There was a discussion in a forum this week about, it's maybe some of you were following this one about direct line in to a Mac, and
you mean like using the actual line in jack?
That it's time to get a digital interface on that. He actually is like, I measured it. Stop paying attention to all these digital little details about this bit and that bit. Go with what works. And Mac makes it a lot easier.
Yeah.
And I think that Lion is eventually going to make things very, very stable. If it already has for me, so I'm thinking it probably has for you too.
Well, you know, it's like what's going to happen with Mountain Lion, right? So are they going to basically, is that going to be like the Snow Leopard to Leopard, you know, where Snow Leopard kind of solidified and kind of cleaned up Leopard? So
yeah, I think that they're pushing their operating system far more to look like, you know, the operating system that's on an iPad and an iPhone, where everything is slides, and I actually find that much easier to launch stuff from, and easier to organize. So.
I'm going to be kicking and screaming. Yeah. I'm like, I cannot get used to that yet. But you know, there's a time and a place for everything. For a day-to-day user, that's probably great. For a show like what I'm producing now, where I actually literally have now 3 monitors, I need to see a lot of stuff at once, and there's no two ways about it, you know. So, but you know, you know, progress. You can't stop progress.
Right, and we do different stuff, so it's, you know, you're doing what you're doing, and I'm doing what I'm doing, and you know, the same technology.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you're using it more from.
Well, I think it's time that we take a break and you know, collect ourselves here, put on some deodorant, and try and and move on with the show. We know Mike McCall's going to be coming up in a little bit. I've got my tip of the week coming up in just a couple of minutes. So you stay where you are, and we'll be right back.
See you in a bit.
All right.
Recording services.
Randy Thomas chiming in.
This is Alex Verdi.
Hi, this is Bill Ratner in Los Angeles.
Hi, this is Scott Rummel here in Yorba Linda, California.
Hi, my name is Rick Wasserman.
Hi, this is Tom Kane.
Hi, my name is Vanessa Marshall.
Hi, my name is Zurich.
Hi, I'm Mary McKittrick.
Hi, I'm Peter McHugh.
I was turned on to George by none other than Don LaFontaine, who always swore by his health.
George is absolutely awesome.
ISDN, Source Connect, Phone Patch, FTP, you name it, George has set it up.
It's really the best thing I've ever done for myself. I feel free, safe, fearless, like anything is possible in here.
Unless you like to look for opportunities to waste time, call George.
And he did all of that, long distance over the phone and the internet.
I'm very happy with George, and I cherish
I've got my travel kit, I got my Source Connect, I've got it all going on, thanks to you.
Thanks, George. You make it easy.
This is East West Audio Body Shop with Dan Leonard in the East and George Whittam in the West. Now back to 2 characters that didn't have anything else better to do. Dan and George.
Yeah, well, you know, but this is what we love to do, and that's why we're here at East West Audio Body Shop. We're here for you.